Let's see if I can one take joke this. Yo, it's Tog from We Make Best, and I finally locked in my Kano list that I'm going to be taking to nationals in a week and a half from now. So not this weekend, next weekend. So pretty late, but not too bad. We got to lock in my deck list. Super happy with where it's at right now, and I'm just going to run through it with you guys on here, just in case you guys are also going to your Nats and taking Kano, and then hopefully this list can maybe help you with a couple of your decisions. So we'll just get straight into it. Pretty much the list is almost identical to my previous one, besides some very minor adjustments made to be able to battle with the expected meta. Real quickly, I've made this tier list of the expected meta that we expect. So obviously Lexi's the deck to beat, so she's solo in A. We expect any of these top 4 decks to be able to win the whole tournament, as well as a couple of them in top 8. The B is kind of what you expect. At least one of them goes into top 8, and so you have a chance of winning the whole tournament. C is, you probably see one of these in the top 16, if not a couple of them. So top 16 decks, and then D, we don't expect to perform very well at all. So as you can see with the list, obviously Lexi's the deck to beat, and then there's Iyslander probably next, and then these three. If you had to ask me, I do believe that Kano does have a nice matchup into most of the field. So Iyslander and Bravo are just free wins, so you can just win those easily. And then, so yeah, my deck's pretty much geared around making sure the Dromai and Lexi matchup are as close to favored as we could get them. So just keep that in the back of your mind while I'm going through my list. Just looking at being able to high roll against Lexi and Dromai, and then some of these decks as well. But this one's a free one as well. But yeah, just keep that in the back of your mind. So back to the list. I made the matchups on the top. So once I share this, it'll help you guys with your sideboarding if you want to test out the list yourself. But also it's going to help me explain all the deck decisions as well without having to go through that ugly sideboard down the bottom, which is just a mess. So all good. We'll go through it. So before we go through them, I've got 48 in the main now, still 34 blues, so 48 and then 34 blues. 34 blues, just having the most chance to be able to draw on the triple blue hands and then be able to combo. I'm a big fan of playing the post-combo game, just comboing when you see the highest damage opportunity possible. Send it then, even if it doesn't kill, and then move into a post-combo game. 48 in the main because I cut the 3rd tome of Aetherwind and the 1 yellow tome that I used to have. If you watched my last Kano deck tech, I did have 4 tomes in. I've chopped them down to 2. The big realization when reviewing my own games was in all the high roll, super fast aggro matchups, which I'm most scared of, is anytime you drew into a tome, whether you had another red, another tome, whatever, like your tome hands, if you draw into them, you lost that game, which was super crazy to see. Like, and it's always stemmed from that turn when you draw the tomes. With that said, I don't want to chop them all the way down to 0, which I did try, because you lose power level in your Lessons in Lava, you lose power in your spindles, and then when you're like me, you also run the yellow spindles. So that's 9 cards in my deck that are very powerful with the tomes. And then, yeah, those cards are just going to lose too much power level, is what I found in my testing. So, down to 2 tomes in the main. And then, yeah, besides that, you just have all your normal combo pieces. Spindle is another combo piece that you can just play on your own turn as well. Spindle probably the best card in the deck. Then, yeah, 34 blues, nothing interesting. I'm a big fan of blue Singed. You don't have to be. You can run the blue Voltics, blue Forebodings, blue Snap. Not blue Snapback, that card sucks. But yeah, and then 1 potion Deja Vu in the main, and then a 2nd in the sideboard that I'll talk over once we get there. But yeah, so nothing crazy for the main. This is just the base deck that we're going to be running into every matchup, and then just going to add in 12 cards every time. So let's get to it. So the first one is Azalea, Lexi, Briar, Katsu, Fire, Bolton, and Viserai. I like to call these guys the fast aggro matchups. So these matchups usually are done on turn 3. Around like turn 2 to turn 3, the game's done. So just looking to not block pretty much, and then just bomb them as soon as we can, and just take all the tempo if we can. The longer the game goes, the higher our win rate does go up, but they're able to present lethal on this turn, like through our blocks most often. So yeah, I like to call them the fast aggro decks. So just looking to not block. Big change, we're bringing in Spellfire because you're not going to get the tunic counter in 50% of the games. And then all we're really doing is bringing in the red flares, yellow spindles, snapbacks, and then I'll talk over the sonics and the chain afterwards. So flares, obviously just extra combo pieces. If you're able to do a flare into another spell, 3-card hand, the opponent, you can just put them into combo range off of just red flare, so insane. On top of that, we've got the spindles, helps with the consistency of the deck. Best 2-card hand, 3-card hand, 4-card hand. You can think of it like a mind warp because the opt is too powerful. If the opponent doesn't respect it and doesn't AB it, we're going to get to opt and pretty much set up a guaranteed combo kill for the next turn, if not really increase our chances for that. Snapback, it's just that too versatile of a card. Like I said, we're not trying to block, so we can use it as the block if we need. Otherwise, you can easily add this onto our own turn of our combo chain, or our combo chain on our own turn, not the actual combo. And then it's also a red that you don't mind seeing on combo turn. If you just draw this off of rags or something, if it's any other red, you're like, fuck, it's just a red. But if it's snapback, oh well, I can add this into the combo, and that can just win you the game off the spot. Super synergistic with the whole deck. And then I'll talk over the sonics and the chain. So if you don't like chain, you can just run the 3rd sonic boom, but I do like the chain as of recently. Just looking at, like I said, you're not looking to block. If you're able to get a 5-card chain card handoff, 5-card chain card handoff. Why does that sound weird? But if you're able to do that, you can pretty much just chunk the opponent so deep that it doesn't matter if they AB or not on your combo. Also, it has the little hedge into the ranges that plays around inertia tokens. So very often the good ranges will give you inertia, or like they'll attack, do whatever, and then at the end they'll play Codex of Inertia. And then that can really hinder you if you don't have a chain in your deck. So in that situation, if you just have a chain lightning in your deck, you're able to tutor it off of like Lesson, Spindle, and hopefully just Kano into it, or Gazes, whatever. And then you can utilize that Arsenal card that would have gone to waste, and then it actually kind of counters this inertia and then really puts you back in the running to win that game. So I really like the chain. Yeah, if you don't like chain, then it's cool, like understandable. Card can be a brick sometimes. Then I'll just recommend running the 3rd sonic boom. So I'm back on the sonic booms. These matchups are so fast that you can't consistently, there's no consistent game plan to be able to beat them every single time. Instead, you just need the most opportunities to be able to high roll them, pretty much. So the other option is you can run Swell Tidings, or like that was what I was testing. I wouldn't recommend it. So instead of Swell Tidings, we just run the Sonic Boom, because I found if you actually use Sonic Boom, if it does hit a non-blue card, except for Gaze, we'll count Gaze. If it hits any of these red cards or yellow cards, then your win percentage to win that game like shoots up insane. I think if the Sonic Boom actually hits, the percentage chance to win that game now was like 80% for me, which was really crazy for me. So honestly, just saying that back as well makes me kind of want to put the 3rd Sonic Boom. But yeah, I'm just that big of a fan for the Chain Lightning, especially as a little hedge for Codex of Inertia from the Rangers. But yeah, if you don't like Chain, really recommend running the Sonic Boom. So Sonic Boom kind of makes it doesn't matter if you win or lose that die roll anymore. You can have the worst position if you're going 1st or 2nd, depending on the matchup. And then as long as the Sonic Boom hits, then you still have a really good chance to win that game. So really like him for that. Besides that, not too much. Oh yeah, so I bring in the 2nd D pot for these guys as well. Taking out one of the blues. It's just another chance that on turn 0, if we're able to high roll and find any of these potions, then our win percentage shoots through the roof. So again, if we get put in the wrong seat, so if Lexi wins a die roll and they choose to go 2nd, just having extra D pots and Sonic Booms for extra chances to high roll really puts us like in a comfortable spot to win that game still. So that goes through all of that. Still 34 blues in this list. Just want to draw into a combo hand ASAP. So combo hand ASAP, and just looking to do pretty much 1 or 2 hands of just 4 cards or even 5 cards. Blow them up, get them down to like 25 to 30-ish, and then just combo them as soon as they tap out. If they don't tap out, then they're holding damage back, and that's good for us. So hopefully that broke that one down a little bit. Next up, we got the Bravo, Azuri, Dori, and Arachne. So Dori's a little bit different from the others, but I'll explain it as we go. So this is just your stacking matchups that like you're blocking a lot into. So the easier stacking matchups, I'd say. Pretty much sort of the same. The biggest difference is we're trimming down on blues. We're down to 32 blues. Yeah, there's not much to talk about. It's just a stacking matchup, super easy. I've just released a couple videos on how I like to stack. But yeah, to quickly walk through the list, I do bring in the 3 flares. And the biggest ones I should point out first is the 5 reacts. So I used to have Fate for scenes as well. So I used to have 7. But since I don't have those anymore, because I really prefer the sonic booms and the chain and all of that now, for the other matchups, you can still get the stack guaranteed with the 5 reacts here. So, but yeah, instead of the 2 Fate for scenes that I also had, I'm running 2 extra flares up here. So 2 extra flares, they can go into your stack. You can play them off Tunic as a 1-card hand for a little bit of tempo if the opponent blocks it. And yeah, pretty much just all around good card. Flares actually also, when you stack them right, you can just have flare and like double blazing, and that's enough to be your stack. You don't even need the wildfire on that point. So really good to stack a flare, and then has very good agency on non-combo turns anyway. Spindles, same thing. You're able to ramp through your deck with the op. You're able to stack them if you need. It's just a good 2-card hand. If not, they're just 3 blocks, so perfect. Nourishing, that is pretty much our wizard's CNC pummel. It's like the equivalent in value. A lot of the times in these stack matchups, if the Nourishing does hit, I kind of just kill them in their next turn, because they realize that I'm stacking, and then the opponents like to play really aggro, and they always just like, I don't know, they don't understand that Nourishing, if I have 6 cards, it doesn't matter what they are, I'm just going to kill you. And then the thing is, if they do recognize this, they're probably just passing, because yeah, even if they play like very minimal cards and keep a card in hand, you can probably still kill with 6 cards off of the Nourishing Intellect. So super broken card. All the people that don't run it, I don't know why they don't. But yeah, highly recommend running the Nourishing. Pretty much just wins you the game if it hits. Because yeah, if they play around it and play safe, then now you've got an extra card for your own turn anyway. So that's an extra like deck count, however many, and then just gets your stack faster. So also the intellect is just +1 on the deck count as well. So I don't know, the cards do good. Please run Nourishing. Next up, bringing in all the tomes. So I still got 6 tomes in my deck. Just yeah, only 2 of them for the fast aggro matchups. So 6 tomes, they just help ramp you towards your stack as fast as possible. And also if you put them in your stack, your stack is so much easier to prepare. If it's just like wildfire, tome, and then like 2 blues under that, then it doesn't really matter what you put anywhere under there, because you can just afford everything, and your combo damage potential is just through the roof from there. So crazy in stack, helps to get 2 stack, and life buffer off Tome of Fiendo is super important to be able to reach your stack consistently. So yep, 6 tomes right there. And then I think I just trimmed on the 2 blue singes. Yeah, trimmed the 2 blue singes. Do note here that I don't bring in the second depot. You don't need it. The second depot is actually more of a hindrance than it is good. Since you're going to be seeing your whole deck, just make sure you have priority to play out your Potion of Deja Vu, because you don't have a second one. When you do have the second one and you draw into the second one, then all this card is a 0 block, and it's in a matchup. These matchups you want to block with your whole hand most turns, pretty much. So this big negativity like comes up a lot, so that's why I don't bring it in. You especially don't want to bring it in when you've already got 4 0 blocks here, you got a 5th one here, and then you're bringing in 6 more 2 blocks. So yeah, all those reasons we don't bring in a second depot, because simply don't need it, and it's actually just worse for your game plan overall. And yeah, so that's the stacking matchup. Obviously I made those 2 Patreon exclusive vids this week or last week, whatever. Watch those if you want to see me on how I go through those. Oh wait, I say that, but I'll quickly explain the Dori. So Dori isn't a pure stacking matchup. You still bring the same setup. Maybe you can trim on tomes if you want, I don't know. But you're pretty much just looking to use these reacts to stall the game out, because you're looking to be able to develop all your potions. So for the Dori, I might actually have to just make a whole new thing. So Dori, bring in the second depot. Yeah, I'm definitely going to make it. So bring in the second depot, cut the eye because you don't want too many zeros. And then we're pretty much just using the reacts up here to be able to shut down the Dori's turn even if they dominate. No matter what, we just shut it down, reset all the counters, whatever. And then just develop as many potions as we can. And then we're just looking to play a double wildfire combo. Whether you pitch stack it or not, it doesn't really matter. I like to just sit on the wildfire and arsenal if I don't have a react in there already, and then just wait for the second wildfire. As long as we've got a lot of potions, we can look for like a 3 to 4 long combo, or even 5 to be honest if you have enough potions, and just bomb the Dori from there. Helps the player around their Oasis respites that they all love to run, so that's pretty much the game plan with that one. I'll fix that before I release this video. But yeah, so those are the block-centric stacking matchups. Next up, we've got Dash, Levia, Reiner, Vincent, and Riptide. So these are the other aggro matchups. I don't think enough Kano players separate the difference between playstyles though. So these are more mid-range or like more slow aggro matchups. So to explain that, like how I said in the first matchup spread, the fast aggro decks, the game's done on turn 3, whereas on average, these ones play a lot more slow and we're more focused around blocking. So the game usually ends around turn 6 to turn 8 for these ones. So turn 6 to turn 8, we get a lot more turns out of this game. So we get extra value out of the Tunic. But yeah, so instead of just not blocking every single turn, this matchup's more of we're comfortable to give a full block if we have to, but we'd highly prefer to just give 2 cards to block with and play off a 2-card hand. If we have a good enough 3-card hand, then I'm happy to just take 3, trade a bit of health as well, and then drop the 3-card hand on them as well. But yeah, so we can get into the list. Like I said before, we don't need to Spellfire because we can. If you're able to get the 2 value out of the Tunic on turn 6, and then you also get the block value, that's insane. You're getting like 3 value for your chest piece, so it's just so much better than the Spellfire cloak. So Tunic first off. Pretty much you can see I'm running almost identical, so I don't have the chains and I've only got 1 of the sonic booms. Oh, and then I'm bringing in 3 tomes. Okay, so yeah, I'll talk through it. So pretty much, yeah, it's still the same with all of these. Same reasonings as before, Only 2 of the red tomes because it is, like I said before, if you draw too many tomes in the same hand, it really hurts your chances to win into these aggro matchups. With that said though, the matchups are slow enough that if we find an early Tome of Fiendel and chuck that into our arsenal, and you get the value off of this, like you get a nice 5-card hand off the Tome of Fiendel from arsenal, you just win that game. So pretty much in all my reviews, if you're able to do this against any of these decks, including Dash, you just win that game. If you're able to get a 5-card hand, you get back to your own turn, take whatever amount of damage, and then you're able to play your Tome of Fiendel, gain up your life, and then just drop a load on, drop a load on all these guys. Pretty much you win from that spot. They have to give you your whole hand, you still chunk 1,000,000 damage. Most likely you find a combo piece and you can just kill them the next turn. If not, you've just got infinite tempo from there that you can control the game to put it to where you're guaranteed a combo to kill them anyway. With that said, I do also trim on 1 blue. We're down to 33 blues against these guys, like I said. Since the matchup's a little bit slower, you don't want to draw into a combo hand every single turn, although I wouldn't mind it. But yeah, just trim down on 1 as a little hedge. Bring in the second depot. Matchup's slow enough that we don't mind. Oh wait, where's the eye? Looks like I cut eye. I think this is a mistake. I would put eye back in over the singe pretty much. So I don't mind having too many 0 blocks. Even if you draw all of them in 1 turn against these aggro matchups, usually they don't have high enough damage output to just kill you on the spot, besides Dash. That's probably why I put the eye to the side, because I don't like it against Dash. Okay, I'm gonna have to fix this shit before I release it. Sorry about that, but I'll fix the Dash and the Dori. But yeah, so normally it will be eye over the singed. Besides that, 33 blues, we bring in the Potion of Deja Vu just for that same reasoning. Extra high roll potential on turn 0, and since we are more block-centric in these aggro matchups, just blocking out and playing your pots are really high value, especially against these decks, because some of them can really have underwhelming turns, even if you give them a 5-card hand. So you can like squeeze value by not attacking them, which is like a concept that I talked about on my Iyslander pitch stacking matchup vid, so make sure you go check that out. But yeah, so just developing your pots, blocking out a lot, playing value. If they swing for 6, just block 6, most likely, unless like your hand can present like 20. Tome or Fiendos, send them up in Arsenal are your game winners, and then obviously if you're able to just strip cards with your spindles, your flares, snapbacks, your lessons, and even your one-of Sonic, just strip cards, make sure you take cards out of them, chipping them down, guide the health down to, I don't know, I wouldn't even say like 25 to 30, get them down to this life total. As soon as they tap out, just look for the combo kill. Pretty simple. So I will note as well, these are the matchups where Swell Tidings is good. And this was always my biggest problem with Swell Tidings. Sorry, I'm about to rant, but pretty much if you look at these matchups in here, Swell Tidings being good against these decks, I don't really care to be good against Reiner, Vincent, Riptide, Levia, and Dash. Like, pretty much you can consistently win with this deck, with this configuration of 60, without the Swell Tidings. And if you can do that, and then the Swell Tidings barely increase your win rate in these matchups that it's best in, then I don't know why it's in your deck, to be honest. Sure, you can run into Iyslander. I wouldn't even run into Iyslander or Kano. It is good into them, but it's not good for your game plan into them. So, yeah, just add that there. If you guys like Swell Tidings, these are the matchups I'll bring it in for. Yeah, Dash, Levia, Runner, so the slow aggro. And then next up we have the anomalies. So we've got 4 of them, but I guess Dash and Dori would add to it, so there's 6. But yeah, so we'll get into these ones. So Dromai is probably the most important because, like I said, it's probably one of the most expected to win a Nationals tournament, if not a couple of them. One of the top 4 decks. So pretty much same thing here, just looking to high roll the shit out of them. I made that video if you haven't seen it already. You just play like an absolute fucking psycho. So no blocks, go second, say no blocks on turn 0, and just trade damage from turn 0. So straight up, no blocks the entire game. So similar to the fast aggro decks. Do note, I only have 1 red Aether Dart. I did cut on the red Singe and the second red Aether Dart. I forgot what for exactly. I believe it was like Waning Moon and maybe the second D pot is what I changed them for. But yeah, pretty much my thought process here is you only need the red Aether Dart and 1 Nourishing to kill Thermai if they do play it on turn 1. Just hope that you find one of these cards anyway. You don't need your chances to be higher with running extra Aether Darts in your deck, which cost deck slots, when you can just use those deck slots for something else. But the thing with that is I'm using those deck slots for the Sonic and the Chain to come in. These weren't originally in my previous matchup spread for Dromai. But yeah, since these are now on my deck, they're just extra cards, like I said before, that help me find a chance to high roll the opponent. So since I'm bringing in all these cards anyway, like that's more incentive to chop down the exclusive cards that are only good for Dromai, as these cards are good into like 8, 9, 10 different matchups. So yeah, bringing in the Sonic Booms and the Chains, extra high roll potential, still on 2 tomes, don't want to draw too many of them. And then yeah, just looking for Nourishing, Aether Darts to be able to kill dragons. If they don't have important dragons on the field, just send it at the face. If they have any dragon on the field though, I would swing Nourishing at it. Try to make sure you Kano before you play the Nourishing and then shoot that at him. See if you can get a card out of him and then kill a dragon with Nourishing. And then get your 5 intellect because it's on hit, not when it hits a hero. So always remember that. Besides that, yeah, just saying no blocks. Hopefully we can trade them down. Like there's one of 2 ways that you beat these Dromais. It's either you can like guide them down to 0 health without comboing. If they play too defensive, they actually have to take a lot of your damage and try to trade. Even if they do take the damage and try to resolve the Mai, and you're able to find a dart off of like a dart lessons, or even if you just have Nourishing there, you can just kill the dragon and then you go back to this plan of guiding them down to 0 or just kill them on the spot. And then if this plan looks like it isn't working, you're like falling behind, just look to chunk them as low as you can and then hope that you draw into a combo hand and just send the combo pretty much. Pretty psychotic gameplay. Usually the games are actually done on turn 1 or 2. That's the like insane part about Dromai. So it's faster than your fast aggro decks because we're also playing like an absolute psycho. So yeah, done again, turn 1 or 2. Only one snapback coming in. It's not that important in the matchup. But yeah, besides that, nothing too crazy. 34 blues. We can go on to the next. So next one is Iyslander. So this one is pretty much identical to the stack matchups. The biggest difference is I'm not bringing in sync belows because a lot of Iyslander decks are now hedging against running attacks, so to like hedge for other matchups or whatever. So they're running a lot of red arcane, so don't want the syncs and to clog up your arsenal. It will be more likely that that happens. So the only difference is we're losing 3 syncs, and I believe I'm just bringing in an extra spindle, the extra potion, and maybe another blue, because yeah, I think there was 30, yeah, so we're on 34 blues here. In the other stack matchups, we're down to 32. Don't mind having too many blues against the Iyslander because we can just use it to AB if not block. And then also you can just use them to activate Kano as well in the opponent's face, and then just +1 to your deck count anyway. So we're back on 34 blues. Drop the sinks for the spindle, the second D pot, and just bringing in the singed, I believe it was. So yeah, exact same game plan. Just looking to stack really quick. Turn to phase 2, I like to call it, of just ramping to the stack, get there, and then just blow them up with as much health as we can. So yeah, and I made that vid. Make sure you go check that out. Not much else to talk about that. Just stacking, pretty simple. And then this one's kind of interesting. We've got the Kano matchup. So the mirror. This is kind of how I like to play it, is we run the Alluvion. I've got Waning Moon back in my deck because of the Prism matchup. Gives me another reason to run Waning Moon, so I found that fine enough to run Waning Moon again. So Waning Moon's back in my deck, running this for the mirror. As you can see, I'm running 2 Oasis Respites. So if you didn't know my plan already, I'm all about just sitting on Oasis, like in my arsenal or whatever, wherever you want to do it, and then pretty much stacking in their face and they can't do anything. So the big thing with Oasis as well is not only does it save you from getting comboed randomly, it also saves you because if you draw your 4 red hand in the mirror, this is like game losing. You just lost if you drew into 4 reds. Whereas if you have the Oasis in your arsenal, it saves you in this position. So super big reason to run Oasis. Pretty much just stacking in their face. You highly prioritize stacking like you would into Iyslander with flares and blazings and only 1 wildfire. If you ever go double wildfire, they'll just kill you. So try not to do that. Just looking to do flares, lessons, blazings, set up your tomes and whatever, and just make sure you set up all your potions or sitting on an Oasis. Stack in their face, they can't kill you. There's no chance for them to kill you pretty much, so they have to stack with you. But you're pretty much a step ahead as long as you go into the game with this game plan, and then make sure you have your Oasises. So pretty much that's how I like to play the mirror. So sorry if I have to verse any of you guys and then you get Oasis to buy me, so or you guys do it to me, so fuck you guys. But yeah, and then rounded off lastly is Prism. So this one is a very tough matchup. At first I thought it was pretty easy. No, at first I thought it was hard, then I thought it was pretty easy. Now I think it's kind of tough again. So the Prisms have caught up. It's so hard to make a video for this shit though, because I don't know what's the best Prism list. So I don't know if all these VODs that I have of it are relevant or not, because I don't know what's the best list yet. So waiting for that, and then I'll make a Prism video. But as you can see, just running Tunic because it's going to be a slow tempo-ish kind of matchup. And then we got the Waning Moon as well. So Waning Moon with the Tunic, just looking to play a slow game, and Waning Moon to just be able to kill the opponent's angels if they ever try to flip on their own turn, or like when they do flip, just presenting the most amount of damage as we can. So a big thing in the matchup is you're not really going to be able to land your on hits because of all that ward and shit. So spindles and flares have less value. I still like to run them because they're combo potential pieces, but we're mainly just looking to drop the biggest damage number that we can on them. So if you had Swirl Tidings, I guess it would be good in this matchup. So that's another plus, I guess. But even with Swirl Tidings, I think this matchup is pretty tough. You're just looking to play most of your pots out. If you can play all your pots, well, it should start on, you're looking to triple block the heralds, which is like rough. But yeah, triple block the heralds. If you can stall the game out and then just slowly set up pots, play one card hands with like tomes, or play off of tunic play lessons or snapback or flares, all of these. Prisms are kind of forced into A-Bing our stuff because they want to protect their angels, so we can hurt their offense quite easily, especially if we have Waning Moon as well. Waning Moon, tomes, and then draw two and then just Waning Moon them or whatever. If you're able to set up a tome turn from your arsenal as well, you can trade back all the health that you lose from a herald and present a lot of damage at them, and it makes it really tricky for them to be able to AB all our stuff, keep their angel up while we get to find a combo piece, arsenal it, and like look to kill them off of that. So Tome of Fiendel is really good. Potions are really good. One card hands, name in the game. Pretty much for your combo as well, since it's a Waning Moon combo and not Crucible, you actually get more value off of comboing off multiple Blazings rather than Wildfires, because instead of Wildfire coming in for 6, it's only coming in for 5. They've got Spell Void in Spectral Shields, whatever, so this is like barely going to hit, whereas if the Waning Moon hits for 3, then the second Blazing comes in for 6, the first Blazing comes in for 6, and then the next one after that comes in for 9. I don't know why I'm writing 19, but like that's 1,000,000 damage off of 2 Blazings and the Waning anyway. So perfect there. Just look to do Blazing combos along with just blocking out developing pots as you can. If you can land a Nourishing on one of their angels as well, same thing as Dromai. Hits the angel so you get the hit effect and just look to kill them in that next turn if they try to tap out. So that's a big way to win as well. Yeah, all these Illusionist matchups, I don't really use this card as a popper. It's just that much value that it has more value to attack with it and get the intellect than it does popping and ending someone's turn. So I just want you guys to understand that how powerful Nourishing is. So the effect on Nourishing is better than popping and ending the opponent's turn. If you can just block with that and then it ends the opponent's turn, that is worse than the on hit of Nourishing. Please understand that. So make sure you hit with it. You're not really popping with Nourishing if you draw it. You can do it if it's like drastic, but that on hit is just game winning. So yeah, that's my configuration. Obviously, like I said, as soon as we figure out what's the meta Prism deck, we can fucking come up with a proper game plan. But yeah, until then, I have to just sit on this, and this is going to be my hedge for if I verse any Prisms at Nats. But yeah, that should round it out for now. So that rounds it all out. I'm just going to, I don't know if I've got any ending thoughts. Pretty much overall, I'm just happy with where the deck list is at. The main ones that I'm worried about is, I'm not even worried about Lexi. I'm not even worried about Dromai with my setup as well. I'm definitely not worried about those decks because they're free wins. So honestly, I'm feeling pretty comfortable going into Nats. The ones I am worried about is probably like Briar, if they run the Spell Void 2 with like AB3 now. That shit's pretty fucking annoying. Vincett's weird. I know a lot of people hate versing Vincett, but I'm probably going to make a video here because I think that matchup is easy as long as you understand how to play Vincett. Besides that, yeah, and then maybe like these decks are like kind of annoying for us to verse because they're just so fast and like the matchups like not in our control. But yeah, since it's the same as like these matchups, I got all those extra high roll potential cards, so I don't mind if I have to verse them. But luckily, Warmongers is holding half those decks back. Yeah, Warmongers is holding these guys back, and then Fire and Bolton are just like pretty unpopular right now. So as you can see, there's only like one real matchup I'm kind of scared of going into Nats. You could say these two are like whatever. There is a good dash going to our Nats, so maybe they'll be scary, but I don't know. I'm pretty comfortable playing into these matchups as well. Just skill check them, and then yeah, there's another free win. So yeah, overall going into Nats, the only decks I'm really scared of is like Balake on Briar. If he runs this shit, which I know he's actually not. He's actually got the tech, so that's going to be interesting. Interesting to see how this Nats goes, how it plays out. But yeah, like I said, pretty confident going in. But hopefully this deck list helps. I'll get the fuck off my screen. Yeah, so this video is a bit choppy. I just straight up one take dragged this without, I'm not going to edit or anything, just going to post this on there. Sorry about that, but yeah, been a busy lad lately. Got to do all that, and yeah, I'll leave the list in the description, like always. I'll fix these matchups for you guys. But yeah, play around with this deck if you want. Tell me how you go with it. If I'm missing any of the tech that you guys have found, hit me up for sure, because I might need it for nets. So, but yeah, that's it. I'm out.